Shut up, Simon.
God damn, what? Alright. I bet. God damn, what the hell going on, y'all? This is Shut Up Simon. I'm your host, Simon U. And it has been a while, y'all. I'm sorry, bruh. First and foremost, I am sorry to every single one of y'all. But honestly, y'all motherfuckers need to be apologizing to me too, cause ain't nobody goddamn hit me up, check in, like, hey nigga, what's up with the podcast? It's been a few weeks, nigga, what the fuck going on? But you know, as we've discussed before on the show, don't nobody give a fuck, and it's not their obligation to. But we back in this bitch, y'all. What is going on?
Shut up, Simon. Shut up, Simon.
It's been a while, bruh. The nigga has been busy, dog. I've been busy, y'all. I'm sorry. I tried to prioritize the podcast. I am trying to prioritize the podcast. But I got a weekly show now. That shit going up, doing numbers. I'm just doing more shows and shit. It's a real busy time for like my family and their events. I'm in and out of town. Shout out to my little brother Kobe. This nigga just graduated high school. On his way to bigger and better things, man. Shout out to that boy. I love you and I'm proud of you. My sister's birthday is coming up this weekend, so I'm going to be back out of town for that. I've said before, I'm coaching Little League, so the season's starting back up, bro. Nigga is just busy, y'all, but I'm sorry. That don't give me no excuse to neglect my people, bro. I mean, I'm probably thinking like, damn, this nigga turned 1 year old and he just forget about niggas. But, bro, honestly, it's just a lot going on, bro. And I don't mean that as no, like, you know how people be like, my mental health, I just can't. It's just so much going on. It ain't even all that shit, bro. I'm perfectly fine, bro. Life is hella good. Shit, life is, if it was any better, I'd look crazy, goddamn. It's a good life, bro. Shit is going well. It's just a lot going. So please, bro, forgive me, bro. I'm sorry, but we back, though. But I got to figure out a way to make this a little bit more easy for a nigga to do, basically. But anyway, bro, I'm hyped to be back with y'all, goddamn. I'm happy to just be sitting back in my chair talking into this microphone to God knows who.
Shut up, Simon.
What's been going on, Simon? That's how we still gonna start the show. Shit, man. Recently, I celebrated 2 years doing stand-up. Hell yeah, give it up for your boy. I wish I had some goddamn sound effects in this hoe, bro. I'm gonna get some, bro. When your boy level up, I'm gonna have a nigga goddamn giving me all kind of and a little bit of and some shut up, son, and all the little additives that I need to goddamn really turn this hoe up. But anywho, we celebrated 2 years in stand-up comedy. I've learned a shit ton within these first 2 years. My first 2 years in comedy, bruh, has been both rewarding, fucking challenging, just hard as fuck, bro. This shit really hard, bro. To be good at it, to be really good at it, and not just be like a cool nigga who people like and they just nice to and gives time because they cool with you and shit, bro. It's hard to be good at being funny like that and still be talking some real shit too, bro. I done met some real cool folks. I done met some not so cool folks. You start to see just how obvious people can be about their intentions, whether they mean to or not. But it's a whole lot, bro. I feel like this whole introduction into comedy, because of shit, a nigga still a youngin' in this whole 2 years in ain't nothing for real. But it really exposes me to a lot of just social nuances that, you know, maybe I wasn't aware to in a smaller group setting, but being a part of a scene and being part of some fucking like community type shit, you peep just people move a lot of the same ways, whether it be your group of friends that you've known forever or just a group of comedians you kick it with every night at different shows and shit, man. But it's been real, bro. It's been real. I'm thankful to be a comedian. I'm thankful for the art of comedy, for goddamn making room for a nigga for real. It's been a good time, man. Since playing baseball, this has been the first thing I've like committed to outside of a job after college that I no longer have. This has been the first thing I've committed to for the long term in a long time. And so to have done this and be doing this and still be doing this for 2 years, I don't give a fuck what y'all talking about. But a nigga is hype. A nigga is proud of himself, y'all. Cause shit, if y'all can't tell behind me, I got 4 harmonicas behind me, bro. 4 harmonicas, a camera, a goddamn boxing gloves over there, a basketball. Bro, there's so much shit in this room that I thought I was gonna goddamn be doing. Hobbies I picked up, then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this shit and I'm gonna become a real nigga at this and I'm gonna goddamn get bread. And shit, bro, it just ain't happen like that. But this comedy shit I've stuck with, I feel like it's really a nigga's purpose, bro. Whether y'all laughing or not. My purpose is to be out here spreading joy amongst y'all evil ass motherfuckers. And that's what I'm doing, bro. I'm doing God's work.
Shut up, Simon.
But again, 2 years in, bro. So that's what we get into today. Today's episode, I reflect on my 2-year journey in comedy with a good friend of mine, a fellow comedian, Electra, who has been in the game a little longer than me. She's more experienced in the whole field, in the whole industry, and is really cold at just giving game, bro. She dropped so much goddamn game on a nigga, and really, bro, if y'all ain't enjoying it, bro, this is for any nigga who wants to do comedy. Anybody who trying to do comedy, think they could do comedy, or just interested in how to do the shit. This interview with Electra, bro, she really, really, really goddamn gave a nigga some game for real. We just go in about goddamn what this comedy shit has been for us the past 2 years. And they both completely different, but still very similar in a lot of ways. So shout out to Electra. We appreciate her. We appreciate Bias and Leon because they let us use the shop, 404 Tompkins Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. They let us pull up for all your sustainable and vintage needs. Shout out to them folks. They let us use the shop. Shout out Electra. She pulled up. She hosts a number of shows. She hosts a show called Podcast Talk called Two Bearded Ladies with our other homegirl Nora. They also host a show at the New York Comedy Stand, which is like top-notch comedy club here in New York. It's like the Magic City of comedy clubs here in New York, bruh. Minus the strippers. Bruh, she really did us a favor pulling up, giving us her wisdom, and we thankful. So without any further ado, I would like to get into my conversation with Electra. Tell us first, shout out to her. I'm going to holler at y'all on the other end.
Shut up, Simon.
We can begin with how long you've been doing comedy, or how long would you say you've been doing comedy?
So if you include the pandemic, it'll be 3 years in August. If you don't include the pandemic, then it's 2.
Okay. But during the pandemic, were you doing Zoom shows?
I did like a handful of Zoom shows. I did tour, like after, when the summer happened, everybody was out doing comedy. So I was doing comedy, and then I kind of like trickled off a little bit like around like December. But then I got the vaccine, and then from the vaccine on, I was out.
You was good?
Yeah.
You get which one did you get?
I got the Moderna.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Is that the one people like?
People like the Pfizer. I think it's because they're familiar. That's where they get their Viagra. So
Pfizer makes Viagra.
I think so.
Shut up, Simon.
Were you doing anything comedic prior to that?
So in terms of my comedy stuff, I started at UCB. I decided I wanted to be a television writer. And
before you wanted to be a stand-up comedian.
Before I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. And so I didn't know really where to start. And then I took an improv class because I knew like, hey, like people who write for SNL or on SNL, they take improv classes. So I took one, and then it was suggested that I try stand-up by my instructor. And then I started doing stand-up and found out that a lot of stand-up comedians are writers. So I was like, okay, I'll continue to pursue stand-up. But before that, I had experiences like as like a child actor and performance and stuff like that. Yeah, so I went to like performing arts schools.
Is there anything we know you from?
Okay, so my biggest credit is in Stepmom, but it's like a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing. I did a lot more theater stuff. This is not modeling, like catalog work and stuff like that when I was a kid.
The Fisher Price kid.
Yeah, or like textbooks and like just like different,
word.
yeah,
A little
like
diversity
catalog,
in
like
the
Land's End, a little bean, catch a little Electra and that
and
stuff.
Coles and shit.
Yeah, just like so like that kind of stuff. But so yeah, I think like my
model, bro.
my
You got a
comedy-
model on the show. Boy, you got a fucking star.
yeah, a whole Starr. That's right. But yeah, so I guess like that was my intro into like entertainment. But stand up, yeah, that was like my first thrill, or like improv was my first big like.
So you been famous.
Comedian. Want to be a
Electra
comedian.
famous, y'all. That's why she on the podcast. That's why I got her on the podcast.
One day, inshallah, one day.
Shut up, Simon.
You ever get nervous as like a fairly new comedian that you will not want to do this shit in 20 years?
I know pretty confidently that like I probably will want to do it in 20 years.
30 years.
30 years no, because I think that for me at least, it's like I want to get to a place in my career, and I look at it like more holistically than just like my comedy stuff, where I have choice. You know, I have like choice and
options
and things like that.
Option
so
me.
I don't want to be like in a space where it's like you are like 30 years from now I've never barked, but like that I'm barking, you know, or doing things like that. Like
What's
that.
barking mean?
Barking is what happens when like people who are standing outside of shows.
Oh,
those are
barking.
barkers.
Word,
yeah, so they try to
word.
get people in and they exchange for stage time.
Where
to
they
get
saying
up.
like we got free show, we got a show.
Yeah.
You
You want to buy a ticket? Yeah. So that I think that
you ever been a barker?
No.
Word.
No. No judgment to barking, but
Yeah, shout out to all the barkers. Bro.
Yeah, it was never something that I had to do, because like a lot of the places that I perform, like usually clubs that bark, I've just gotten to do the show because it's independently produced or whatever. But also like I'm not good. I would be good at barking. A really distinct kind of person is good at that, and I'm not good at that. And also just like someone who has a full-time job, like that would never appeal to me. Like if that was the only in, I don't know if I'd be able to.
How'd you get your first club show?
Shoddy Diaz. I want to say that was my first club show, or maybe it was one of, but the pair I got to perform because she recommended me, and then the producer booked me. But then I have a show at the Stand, and that might actually have been my first club show. And I got that through like contacting them and pitching the show idea and the concept of it. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Word.
I had to put together a whole like little
like deck and shit,
yeah, like
presentation.
you know,
and shit?
for a stand-up show, so it was kind of small, but a whole like what are we doing? What makes the show different? What would our potential lineup be? Like who are we as people? Because I did with Cody Wilkins, my friend.
Word. Okay, this is good game right here. Cause you've been to Stank Face.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
It's a really great show.
I really
I enjoyed
appreciate it.
when I did it. It was great.
Thank you. Every time you pull up, we enjoy you.
Thank you.
But we are considering moving it. Nobody watch this shit. We considering moving it, and so I was like, all right, I know we gonna need something to pitch to the next place, to the next venue, and so it's good to know like the type of shit that we'll need to include.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can include all like how many people do you think you can bring in on a weekly basis? If you sold drinks, like what is the average amount that was sold in your show? Do you want to have like a potential drink special with the bar, the club that you're at, like things like that? How much would your ticket be? Are you selling tickets? Like all that stuff.
Got you. Okay then. So then let me ask you this. You was in the game for a year. Had been, because last year was COVID.
Yeah.
You was in the game for a year. How was you just kind of making all this shit happen within the first year? Were you working? So were you doing the producer thing and as well working your pen and your jokes and shit like that, or did you? Because like I was telling you earlier, I find myself now falling really deep into the producer role, but I'm very adamant at becoming a stronger comic.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is it possible to focus on both equally at the same time?
I think it depends on your bandwidth as a human, you know. But I would say, like, for me, so I started August of 2018, and then my first show that I produced, our first show was like I think October of 2019. And the first time I had help, like with producing that particular show, my friend Cody Wilkins, I think that might have been his first show outside of like a college kind of thing. But, you know, I really got to know and learn production from like looking at other people's shows and how they run, and also with his assistants. And then the writing stuff, I mean, like when I would go to open mics, I would write something and then go say it. Write something and go say it. So, and then go back and like revise it. If it didn't work, what might be funnier than what I've done this time around and stuff like that. So that was like trial and error, you know?
Yeah.
For sure. But I would say, like, if you're doing a weekly, like for you personally, like you're doing a weekly show, and our show was monthly, and I think it's much, like weeklies have the benefit of, if you can really make a big crowd, then you have a fire show and everybody wants to see it. Everyone wants to be a part of it. But when you have a monthly show, it's just easier on you because like you pick your lineup, you have your date, you make your flyer, and then you just keep posting about it, hitting people up. You can think out of the box in terms of your production, but that's really, it's a little bit easier and allows for like, if I were like, I need to become a better comedian and I have the production side down, then like, yeah, then you have the ability to focus on being a better comedian because you have like a reliable group of people that show up week to week. So you can just be like, okay, I know what's up.
Word.
Shut up, Simon.
Okay, bet. Because I'm like, I think I'm going to have to just focus on one, solidify one, so like the show is going very well. Mm-hmm. And I'm like able to talk my shit and like use my time in front of my audience on Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. And I think once the wheels get turning on that shit for real or consistently, it's just like we just know what to expect. It's the same shit every time. Then I'll be able to start like reaching out to other people to get spots and just like going to open mics and shit.
I love open mics.
Really? I hate them.
I love open mics only because like, and I know that's definitely something.
I love a good variety mic. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
I hate a variety mic.
Really?
Get that guitar out of here.
I love a variety mic. I feel like you get a better reaction to your jokes.
Sing right now. Go away. I hate variety mics.
Really? Let's get into it, man.
I just feel like I don't know. I like open mics, and I know that this is given like my particular stage or where I'm at as a comedian, but you know, people aren't listening to it at open mics. And that's definitely like, oh, people aren't listening. It's hard to gauge. But like at the same time, it's like they're kind of listening, not peripheral audio, but like they're just like listening to you like passively, you know? And so if you can break through that passive listening to get a laugh, then in a room where people are engaged, it's like, oh, this is going to kill in a room of people who just like came to see a comedy show, you know? But then also, too, it's like I go into mics with the mentality. First of all, when you do well at mics, you can get booked. That's the first thing. Like, that's really how I got booked in the beginning, was like doing well at mics and people coming up to me after the show, be like, oh, come do my show, blah, blah, blah. You know, that kind of stuff. But then also, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like it just allows for me to be like, I don't care. Especially at this stage, I'm using mics. I don't give a fuck what you think because I'm booked anyway. Yeah. You know, I don't give a fuck. I got shows all week. So I'm just using this to better myself. And it does require you to kind of drop your ego, though, which is difficult.
Word.
You know, to be like, I'm going in here, this might not work. Because there's a tendency, a lot of people go to mics and do their same shit. And given you could be working on your cadence or a particular pause or a facial expression, but oftentimes people are doing their same shit because they just don't want to bomb in front of other people. Yeah. You know, and once you get over that, like almost welcoming the bomb, then great. But the other thing about shows, and I got this from Julio Diaz, actually.
Shout out to my boy Julio, man.
And it was kind of interesting because, like, when we got into conversation about, like, doing shows, you realize, like, when you have a weekly show, you start to get repeat customers or repeat audience members. Yeah. And they're not necessarily trying to hear the same shit you did last week.
Right.
So I think like weekly shows can really force you to constantly come up with new material. But then when you're constantly coming with new material, you're not honing that
right,
material.
and that's what's fucking me
So
up.
that's why going to mics is
That's
something
what's
that I
fucking
think
me
is really
up,
great.
man.
Yeah.
I feel like every week I got a new one. I'm like, oh, this might be some shit.
Yeah.
But every week I'm like, fuck, this might be some shit too.
Exactly. But then it's good too, because I feel like, these shows that you do, they start to change. Like, it's like a show is like, I got to kill this show. And then the longer you do it and the more you get more shows, you're like, okay, I'm going to use this show I'm still going to try to do well, right? But like, I'm using this show for this particular thing. I'm going to try this set a little bit differently than I've done it before, and you start to really like it. Every show used to feel so huge for me. Like every show I did was like, I got to kill this show.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of like, I always want to do well because people deserve to see a good performance, but like I'm still working towards something.
Yeah, it sounds like you're very intentional with a lot of your shit.
Yeah, I try to be intentional. I'm an INTP.
What does that mean?
It's like a 16 personalities thing.
Oh,
it's based off of the like you take a Myers-Briggs test. I want to say it's like Carl Jung, whatever. But it's like a personality test, and like INTP is one of the. It's like they also break them down into occupations or like tropes. So mine is like the logistician, and they tend to be like math and science people. Like Bill Gates is one.
Okay, man, you banging the same gang as Bill Gates.
INTP. Cheat on my wife too.
You feel me?
Shut up, Simon.
Did you go to mics every day?
Absolutely not. I would say I go to a mic now. It depends on my schedule. If I'm not booked on anything, like I know like the second or third week of June, I'm not booked on anything, I'll probably go to a mic like 4 times or multiple mics in a day. But on average, I probably go like twice a week, and I'm usually booked maybe like 4 times a week.
Okay, the wagon, book wagon.
There's a lot of shows right now, though.
I know,
there's
so many shows.
I was actually putting on I put on my Instagram.
There's so many fucking shows right now.
I put on my Instagram. I was like, it's almost like I'm going to LA in August. And someone told me it's really hard to get booked out there. And I'm like, it's almost too easy to get booked in here, like in the city.
I need a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, it's because there's so many shows and there's so much audience now that it's really
niggas is thirsty for this damn
before the
comedy,
pandemic, there was it was really easy to create goals for yourself.
Yeah.
To be like, I'm trying to get on Butterboy. Haven't gotten it yet. But I'm trying to get on this show because you knew that like managers might be there or agents might be there. So you want to do well in this room. Now it's kind of like, I don't know where those niggas at. They still be inside. I don't really know, but
I feel you. I think,
know?
It's way too much shit going on right now.
It's really upset. It's like, I find it very frustrating.
It is it's very frustrating. There's been so many people who I even know since I first started comedy who like, I'm gonna do stand up, and we both start, and them niggas just don't do it no more. Mm-hmm. And there's been times where somebody was doing a show for 4 weeks, and now they don't do the show anymore.
Mm-hmm. I had 3 shows at one point, and I've put one of them on hiatus because it was like, this is too much.
Damn.
This show will always be this show because the show is just a fucking name in a room of people. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I can bring back this name and another group and get a group of people to watch it at some other point. But right now, it's just I have too much going on in my personal life, too much going on, and comedically. To give it, and the name of the show is Electra Company. It's my name. So I'm like, I remember that one. Give this attention.
I like the poster for that was dope.
Yeah, thank you. But the one thing I'll say is like, when it comes to all these shows, you're right. Like so many of us fall to the wayside, like, but also I feel like it's like, how do I say this? Like, I have this belief. Tell me if it's crazy. You can totally edit this out, but like, people can be funnier than you, more talented than you, have more people in the room than you. None of that stuff really matters, There's like this like anomaly. I feel like people don't recognize it. Like no matter all of those things, like there's no such thing as the best. Like a lot of that is subjective.
Yeah, very much.
So when you apply it, if you're honest and you know that it's subjective, then like at the end of the day, no one can really be you though.
Yeah.
Right? Someone can be more talented than you, taller than you, skinnier than you, like whatever. And they might be more connected than you, but like if they're looking for you or they're looking for a particular thing, then you are going to be there,
That's dead ass.
So that's like the way that I kind of handle, or how the mentality I try to like get, because now we're entering the stage where people are going to start getting more stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because we're seeing every time like somebody rises, another person meets that place.
Like how many people do we know personally now that are on HBO or Showtime?
A number.
Yeah.
A number of people, you know, and it's like you can get, and you know what it is too, like sometimes it's just like what I'm trying to deal with right now is like people I don't find funny.
Yes.
And it's like, and I know that it's subjective. I'm constantly reminding myself because I know people don't find me funny necessarily either.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, this person is so not fucking funny.
Yeah, man.
You know, and it's hard because you know that it's some other thing. It's a connection, or they're white and they're pretty and they're, you know, like all like, and you're God damn it.
It's
come
literally
on.
what you just said. It's like if they're looking for that at that particular time, that's what they're gonna get.
That's what they're gonna get. And you also have to know how to like package yourself too, which is where I'm sort of entering that space where it's like how do I want to represent myself in the world? And not only how do I want to represent myself, but like what is the most marketable version of me as a person? You know, because like part of it is we don't want to admit it to ourselves, but we're totally in that capitalistic space where it's like you need to market yourself. You know,
but I feel
you're like the cool black hipster guy.
But no,
own your shit, man. Own your shit.
But I think the whole thing is it's like the reason why we get upset at people who aren't funny and are still very successful is because they're marketable. And if you market your shit, you can do it, bro. No matter what it is.
Yeah.
If you package shit up nicely and give it a nice name, shot, whatever the fuck, people will buy that shit.
Yeah.
So we can market ourselves. We can. I know I could go out here with my light skinned ass. There's a nigga out there in every commercial who looks exactly like me, and he the same nigga.
There's like a class of comedians that like
that
fit that description.
That's just light skin, and I usually wear the glass. Bro, there's a bunch of Chance the Rapper looking type niggas who all can satisfy that.
Yep.
Especially if we play up on it. Especially.
Shut up, Simon.
I think the thing that will really make us stand out is the shit that you were just talking about. Like whatever it is that makes you you.
But I think like
The Rock is marketable. Okay. That's why he's in every fucking movie.
No, for sure. But I think even that, right? Like The Rock is not trying to like I think when I say like market yourself, it's like what is like the polished version of yourself that you can market. Like in the sense of like, you know, are you like the doe-eyed, like bedroom-eyed, like girl at the bar that nobody really gets to talk to because she's reading a book? Like, is that your thing?
Yeah.
Or, you know, because I think like, or someone like Issa Rae, for example, right? Like awkward black girl. That was her thing. She's so much more than that. Awkward cannot encapsulate her entire existence, but awkward black girl is the marketability. She's going to relate to all these other awkward black girls. You know, Black Lady Sketch Show, they're going to like their particular brand of blackness is going to apply to all these other people that see themselves in that. You know, so I guess that's what I'm saying, where it's kind of like,
man.
Yeah, I guess that's
so
what I'm
right,
saying.
right.
You know, so it's just like that's what it is. But and now you can, I think you can transition out of it. Like,
Yeah,
I think
you can.
Issa Rae is, first of all, she dropped a ton of weight, and I think that since the beginning, I don't know her weight, but if you look at the web series, to like season 1 and then season 1 to like season 3, she lost a lot of weight. And what did that do? And this is fucked up, but this is just what it is. It opened her up to be in The Photograph, and it opened her up to be in
interest.
Lovebirds and all that stuff. So I think it's entirely fucked
she's
up.
a romantic comedy,
you know, but
type.
I think it is and in some ways it still manages, even though she like moved closer to the box, she's still kind of transgressive in the fact that she doesn't quite fit the box, or like the box has to open to accommodate her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you can move out of that box, but you got to look at where you're at right now. If I lose 30 pounds, I'll be in a different box. I mean, I feel cool, but I'll be in a different box.
That's what I'm saying. I feel you, girl. What's your thing right now? Because
Like,
now that you say this,
what box am I in?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to figure out now.
Word.
That's what I'm trying to figure out now. I don't know exactly where, because I think that, and this sounds so arrogant, I think, but I'll just say it. I don't know where I fit because I feel like I don't necessarily either I don't check off a box enough, or I like check off a box that like they don't really expect black girls to check off.
Word,
As
I feel that.
comedians, you know?
I feel that. You should check that box off.
And that's the box I'm trying
That's
to check.
the box,
and I'm
bro.
trying to get a check.
Yeah, check that box. Bro. Check that
Exactly.
box for sure. Whatever
yeah.
box that they don't think you're supposed to check
Check
that
box.
motherfucking box.
Yeah, because I mean,
that's why Eric Andre so turned up.
Mm,
Cause that motherfucker, he just a crazy ass black man.
Yeah.
He doing shit that if he was a shade darker, they'd be like, no sir.
yeah, he's like he grew up on Jackass.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
I commit. I ain't gonna say. Well, niggas, whatever. Cause they gonna think that I'm just teaming up with my fellow light skinned nigga.
I think he's doing a great job.
But I fuck with niggas who will use that, bruh, as the end. And I know people be like, well, he only got in because he fucking light skinned. But I'm also just like, bruh, so did Obama, bruh. You know what I'm saying? So did Obama. But the nigga still is some level of representation.
Yes. Yeah.
And as long as you don't straight up Stacey Dash your shit, bro, you know what I'm saying? Give my man some praise. Let him rock, bro. Let him rock.
Shut up, Simon.
And let's talk your writing.
Okay. Very nice. Very smooth transition.
So do you write just as much as you did when you first started?
I would say I, for the most part, go through a couple of months of writing every day, and then I might take a couple of weeks off. So I think I write with regular, like, I guess it all depends on how you define writing. You know, I kind of allocate thinking time, which might sound silly, but I will open up my notes and just think about the things that I've written in my notes before sitting down to write anything. And then I write a joke. And then I usually try to go to a mic and say it at a mic and then listen to the recording and then go back to the joke and see if it fell flat or if it needs to be changed. And oftentimes I completely rewrite the joke. But yeah, to answer your original question, I would say that I probably write with the same level of consistency.
Word. And so when you say like you sit and you write a joke, is it a new joke?
Not always, no. I mean, a lot of the time, like what I'm doing or what I'm now going to pivot to, I was writing new material, and what I've realized recently is that I should probably just try to mine the material that I have. So what that means for me is like now taking like my 10 or 15 minute set and seeing what else is in there to make all of the jokes longer or punchier or just like more fleshed out.
Word.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do now. Because I think there's something really exciting about writing a new joke, but then when I go on stage, sometimes I can feel the incompleteness, like the audience is looking at me to go deeper into what I've just addressed, and I'm like, we're moving on.
Yeah,
so
I feel
that's
that.
kind of shitty.
What writing for TV and like other writing jobs that you've had before? Are they scripts? Are they like...
So the extent I've written for television was not even television, it was for Quibi. And so I was a content consultant / writer. And so what that meant was basically we'd have to pitch these ideas. We'd work in these groups, pitch an idea or pitch like several ideas, listen to them, get feedback on them. And then ultimately the head writers of the show would write the scripts. The other work that I have is like, just my own self-produced like sketches that should be coming out this summer.
Oh shit, okay, boy.
But yeah, that's pretty much like the extent of my professional like script writing was that Quibi.
Word. Cause I'm trying to I be really like neurotic about my writing. Like I'm always like I'm not writing enough. When I am writing, I'm like, all right, should I write a new joke? How do I work on the jokes that I've already written?
I think you can be like a teacher in that way. Like that's something I do for myself is like kind of asking myself probing questions about the topic, like if I'm telling a joke about gentrification, it's like, what is some stuff about gentrification that annoys me? is there anything positive about this? Like, how might somebody else feel about that? Like, just asking a variety of questions might lead to an end to the joke that you may not have taken without it. Or you could just be like, more like, what is my opinion about this thing? And do I have an opinion about this thing? Should I have an opinion about this thing? Like, is there a wrong opinion to have? So I always try to like think about the angles, but try not to be neurotic about it, which is what I'm working on too, where it's like, sometimes maybe like things are not finished right away.
Yeah.
Maybe things just need a minute to sit down on the paper. Maybe this punchline is great, but maybe it doesn't belong in this joke. Or maybe the setup needs to be something different. I think stand-up writing is really, it's like simple but complex at the same time.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the hardest thing for me is just like my mind is always going as far as like, this is a new joke. Mm-hmm. And like, this is so I'll like write it or like try it. Not even try it, but write it.
Yeah.
Never try it.
Mm-hmm. That happens. I have a lot of jokes I've never said.
And then just go on to another joke. I'm like, oh man, this would be a good joke.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking like, fuck man, I should go back to this joke.
I mean,
work on that shit.
Something that I'm trying to figure out right now for myself is sometimes I wrote a joke and I'm like, is this funny? And I'm like, well, sometimes you're your worst critic, so let me go say it, you know? But what I'm finding more is that the things that I do not react to, the audience is not reacting to it either.
Word.
Like, you're your own compass and direction. And I think you can apply that to...
Okay, then. Greek philosopher.
I think I think you can apply that to your own, like, what do you want to do today? You know, I don't think it should be, like, something that feels like you can't just like enjoy it. And the writing is shitty, right? But like, or painful, but like the ability to like, you shouldn't get anxiety from like sitting down and not knowing where to start. You can start anywhere. It's all going to be productive.
Right.
You know? And then you might get on stage and be like, you know what? I should have practiced my face in the mirror. And it had nothing to do with the writing. I should have like, you know, I don't do that personally, but I know some people do.
Word. Damn.
Yeah.
Do you practice in the mirror?
No.
Do you know people who practice in the mirror?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know people who run their set, and I'm not there yet, where people can like run their set and like they're in front of an audience, and I cannot do that.
Or me neither. I
can't do it, and I think that's a real skill. Like I think that is like a true. I don't know if it's true because I've never really like I don't know big comedians if they do it or don't do it, but like the ability to turn it on when no one's there.
Yeah, bro.
Like Usama's really good at that. He's really good. Like, if you've seen him perform, Usama Siddiqui, like, there could be, like, nobody in the room. And it's, like, nobody, 100 people. Then it could go and perform,
Word.
You know? And I can't help but think that, like, he has to go home and do this. Maybe he doesn't.
Probably
I don't know,
does.
but he probably does.
That's the
I think a lot of the animated comedians probably go out and do that.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
You know?
I think that because there's a level of comfortability you got to have with yourself. And that only comes from doing it enough.
Yeah. Yeah, doing it enough and like really trusting your own sensibilities.
Yeah, and the only way you can do that is if you just fucking do that shit all the time and not give a fuck, really.
And not giving a fuck is a huge part of it. If someone like you can say something the same way, right? And you know that like it gets a laugh. So you're going to say it that way, but then you really want to try this other way. But you don't want to like you don't want to fuck up your set, or you don't want to make the audience dislike you or whatever, then like you're better off like caring less about what they think.
Yeah.
Because your aim is like higher.
Word. I feel that.
You know?
I definitely feel that. So, 2 years in the game, was there anything that you were concerned about with when you first started that you're not concerned with now? That you're just like, I was really giving that shit just way too much attention.
I think I was really focused on getting on particular shows. And I think I was really focused on getting things that now that I reflect back, I was not prepared to get.
Word.
You know, there were shows that I wanted to be on. There were things that I like, festivals I wanted to enter that I didn't make or whatever. And it's like, I actually recently looked back at my set from, I think it was like early 2019. And I was like, this set was decent enough to get me into the Women in Comedy Festival, right? Which is like a pretty well regarded festival. But I look back at it, I'm like, this was not good. Like, this was not great, you know? So when I think about, like, at that time, I want The Knit, Butterboy, Too Many Cooks, all these shows. Like, I was not prepared to be on those shows. So now I don't worry about things because I feel like when it's supposed to be for me, it's going to be for me.
Word. What, fuck, I had a follow-up. While I think about the follow-up, what are you concerned with now that you weren't concerned with then?
Something that I talked about today with my friend Nora.
Shout out to Nora. Yeah, she doing Stank Face on Wednesday. This shit probably ain't gonna come out till after that, but
but there will be a Wednesday Stank Face at some point.
Hell yeah.
And maybe
Pull
she'll
up.
be on it. Maybe she
Starr
won't.
Bar, both of y'all gonna be on it.
But I was saying something to her about like something I'm concerned about now is like how much do I have to engage with like the community?
Mm-hmm.
Like how much do I have to like engage with the comedy community? Because I think you can engage too much, right? And I think you engage not enough.
Yeah.
You know, you always want to feel and you want to be in the mix, but sometimes for someone like me who's like a natural introvert, like being in the mix is actually not conducive.
Yeah.
To my mental health, you know? So I think like that's something that I'm concerned about now is like how much do I need to be in everything? And I think another thing I'm concerned about is just like now I have to be really mindful of my money, and like I'm getting to that space in my career where I have to start investing my own money into projects, and you don't want to do that flippantly. So I'm like, I don't want to be ever wasting a single dime, you know? Bro. So it's like, how can I be really mindful about that money stuff? And then also too, like the third thing I guess I'm worried about is just, you know, this sounds so braggadocious, but like haters are real. There are people who will hate on you, and it's kind of shitty.
Damn, and they don't want to see you shining, bro.
People never, a very small group of people want to see you shine. I think most people are indifferent, and then the rest of them are haters.
Damn, most people are indifferent. Some people want to see you shine, and then the rest are hating on you. Mm-hmm. That's fair to say.
Indifference is fine. I'm totally good with people being indifferent towards me. But I think like...
But a wise man once said, if they hating on you, you're doing something right. So I would encourage everyone to embrace the haters, but don't encourage them. You know what I'm saying?
Shut up, Simon!
I encourage your hatred towards me. No, and it's interesting too, because like I used to feel a certain type of way about like comedians are a different class, and kind of like, you know, you introduce yourself to them, they may come off as abrasive, but then the more you kind of are like a face in the landscape, the more you understand why people move like that, you know? Yeah. And it's not even intentional or like any real animus. It's just like, you know, like it's like a weird thing when people know who you are, but you don't know them.
Yeah.
And they want something from you, but it's like, I've never interacted with you. And I can definitely reflect back and be like, I probably approach people with that energy unintentionally.
Yeah.
But then if you actually acknowledge it and make like, this makes me uncomfortable, or this is just weird, then that energy of wanting something from you and obviously getting declined in that offer becomes like, oh, I don't fuck with this person.
Word.
Who the fuck she thinks she is? She's a bitch, whatever.
Yeah, bro. I mean, there's honestly I got to check myself with that shit right now. Like, there's times where people ask to do my show, and I remember the time when I would, like, follow them, and they didn't follow me back, like a year ago.
Yeah.
And then they just follow me, and then I'll get a message from them. I'm like, oh, no, nigga, like, you ain't follow my ass when I followed you and shit. Now you on my shit. But
exactly.
But I, you know, I tell myself, bro, I can't be like that, man. I can't be the one to be holding on to that, because like you said, I probably was moving the same way, just unintentionally. Because everyone's eager, you know what I'm saying?
Eager, that's it.
Everyone eager, overzealous. We all playing the game, which goes back to like what you were saying about how much you got to be in the shit. Like me now, I feel like, okay, my show getting a little buzz, people recognizing me, I need to be out more. But like you said, like I can't really, I ain't that type of nigga that just want to be out all the time chopping it up with people who I know just chopping it up with me for the fuck of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't,
and granted, I'm not pissed that they don't want anything but maybe, to know me for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But the effort that goes with having to like fake that interest in the conversation, I could do it out.
Yeah.
But I be telling myself like, nigga, like the show got some buzz, like you should be out there.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm also like, nigga, like get funny, nigga, like get real funny, then, cause I feel like shit, bro. If you got a banging ass show and you funny as fuck, then bro, like I ain't gotta play the game. I don't gotta play this game with y'all. I feel like a lot of us play this game because we do feel like we have to overcompensate for something. Maybe we do feel hella funny, but we ain't got no show. Or maybe like I got this show, but I don't really feel that funny. Or in my case, people fuck with me. What I'm learning is that even people who see me or we fuck with each other outside of the show. Like there's a few comics who like they be like, nigga, you cool. Like we fuck with you on some shit like before the show, after the show, blah blah blah. But I'm also like, I want them niggas to think that I'm funny too. I like, yeah, it's cool to be cool and it's cool for people to be like, oh, your energy cool. Nigga, I like your energy. But I'm also like, nigga,
it's cool to be cool, but I'm trying to get booked.
You feel me? Like I'm trying to be, I ain't trying to just share this joint with y'all niggas. Like,
it's very easy to get caught up in like, oh, he's a producer. You know?
Yes.
Like I think it's a little bit easier if you like start the way that I did, where it's like I just have a show and now I'm producing a show. So it's like comic first, you know? I think people see that, and it is kind of hard to get caught out. I don't know. It's like, but I think it's really, it's like, I can understand how that happens, but I also think it's kind of easy to get out of, because like once people see you booked on shows, like, oh yeah, nigga, comedian too. Like it's like, you know, but at the same time, you know, I think it's very easy to get boxed in if you try to become a performer, or not try to become a performer, but like start to do shows and like they don't go well. Like I definitely would want to go into, if I were you, I would definitely go into that super prepared.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah, moving into that space, being like, I'm
it's
about
like,
to blow.
this nigga just produced shows.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, so it's definitely something I would try to be like, when I start booking shows, or like booking other people's shows, or like really immersing myself in that experience, like I gotta have my 10 minutes, 10 to 12, like ready.
Yeah, bro, and I ain't delusional about that, man. And I know people be like, because every time I get, Simon, you be clean, boy, you fresh, or your energy good, or oh, you cool, I fuck with you, bro. But I want niggas to be like, nigga, you funny, nigga.
Yeah. Yeah, not one of those like weak, like, good set.
Yeah, you
Like,
feel me?
you don't even mean that.
Right. But just because you fuck with me, you like, bro, you did your thing.
Yeah.
Shut up, Simon.
So do you have some sort of like comedy mentor? Do you have a trusted group? Like, how do you know, how can, outside of your own judgment, how can you gauge like where you are with your shit?
I have had, I would say like in terms of mentors, like Cody Wilkins, he was definitely like a huge part. I met him a month into doing comedy, and then spent like the next like year and a half like really like pounding the pavement and going to shows with him and producing a show at the Stand and all that stuff. So he was a huge part of my understanding and like forming of my perspective about like the comedy space and how much to engage in it. And I made my mistakes along the way against like his advice.
I told your ass nothing.
Yeah, basically. Now I gotta go handle it. But yeah, so like that was a huge part. Now Nora Yaya is a huge, like, we work together. We're building essentially like a brand together. We're doing all of that stuff.
Shout out Two Bearded Ladies.
Yeah, Two Bearded Ladies. So I think that's a huge, I think also it's like a lot of solo and like, yeah, I haven't acquired too many friends in comedy. Like you know, like the people I definitely respect, like Julio Diaz, Talent Harris, like Jared Harvin, like those people I really look at as like being in my comedy class. But for the most part, it's kind of like a solo endeavor. And in terms of me being funny, like I always look at it as like trying to see it as subjective, but also like the rooms I'm in speak for themselves. Like I know I'm funny, so no one's gonna tell me. And I don't think that's something you lose.
Word.
You know?
I feel that.
Shut up, Simon.
Are you pen to paper? Or are you typing everything?
I've tried it a few different ways. So I used to write everything on a Google Doc. Then I started writing in my phone. Then I started writing in a journal. And now where I'm at is I have a yellow legal notepad. So
Jerry Seinfeld with the shit.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld style. Exactly. He's got a really good podcast episode with this dude, Tim Ferriss. Yeah.
So I fought with that man, Mr. Ferriss, boy.
Yeah, he has some good interviews. So
you should, not to cut you off, but he got if you subscribe to his newsletter, Tim Ferriss newsletter, he has a 5-bullet Friday where every Friday he sends some OD like shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll definitely
For free.
Subscribe to his newsletter.
You feel me?
So I use the notepad, and so what I do now is like I write out the joke, whatever I think it's gonna look like. Then I try to say the joke is like as close to that as possible, and then I record it. Then I listen to it back, and oftentimes I end up scratching it and starting over again. And I just keep doing that. Just keep doing that over and over.
And how long would you say your writing sessions are usually?
An hour.
An hour?
An hour, yeah. I stop at 30 minutes to an hour, but no more than an hour. Yeah, for that particular like stand up.
Right.
If I'm writing a sketch or something, I might just like be at it all day. But for stand up, it's so intense of an experience sometimes that it's just like, oh, this is exhausting.
Word.
Yeah.
I feel that. With the sketches, do you write sketches when assigned, or do you write them like when an idea strikes?
I try to develop ideas and then go to my list in my phone and like try to write one of them. But a lot of the times I really write it in my brain first. Like right now I'm doing this one that I'm very excited about because it's so stupid. But I'm writing the scenes in my head before I even sit down, and I want to film it. So I'm thinking about who to cast because I think that'll be a huge thing. So yeah, I write it in my brain first, and then yeah. Those are a little bit more visual, I think, too, which makes it easier
Sketches.
to be like this scene, then this scene, you know. I start with the beginning. I try to know what the ending is, and then I figure out like what else needs to happen in the middle.
Word. And do you get caught up in like the dialogue and shit?
No, I get caught. No. I think dialogue comes. I have a harder time with like scene setups, like action, more than I have with dialogue, because usually if you have a distinct character, you'll understand how they speak. And for a sketch, it's different than like if you're trying to write like a TV pilot or something where that needs to be consistent. Like a sketch is like what, like max like 5 pages. Yeah. So you can keep them consistent for 5 pages.
I feel that. I really appreciate anytime I can talk to a fellow comedian, because I feel like that's where all the game is, honestly. Yeah. Because I'm obsessed with just like learning how to do this shit, but I'm also like I know it all comes down to how I do it.
Yeah. How can you? Yeah, because it's not going to look the same for everybody.
Yeah, but I show up looking at everybody trying to see how they doing it, bro.
Yeah, it's hard for me to understand sometimes that it's going to look different for everyone, because I'll be like, why are they doing that? And it's like, bitch, mind your business.
I feel. Do you watch a lot of stand up?
No, not right now. I'm watching a lot more sketch. Word. I'm watching a lot of Key and Peele, Dave Chappelle, the characters in Living Color. I've been trying to focus my energy on sketch. A couple of weeks ago, maybe like back in April, I was watching a lot more stand up. Word. I haven't sat down and watched something for pleasure in a very long time.
I feel that, man. And that's why I'm like, bro, I don't want to get so caught up in how to do this and being whatever that I just lose the fun that this is supposed to be. Like reminding myself, like, this is fucking comedy. Like, it's jokes.
Yeah,
it's
we're
laughter.
not like neuroscientists or anything. Yeah.
It's not like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not like the stuff I produce out of my brain may help someone through their day, but that shit ain't gonna fucking turn the tables of cancer research. You know what I'm saying?
No, it definitely should be fun. I agree with you that it definitely should be like, I don't know. I find a lot of pleasure, because somebody's like, comedy doesn't make you happy, and I was like, no, it doesn't make me happy, but I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. It's like probably the best way for me to spend my day, but I also just like the challenges that it presents for me all the time. I just really enjoy, you know, it's a totally selfish occupation. Like, I'm a teacher during the day, so I have and I've worked like forever pretty much since I was a kid. So like I have an understanding of like what is an easy and hard job, and like this is a challenging job, but it's by no stretch like compares to anything else. Word. Like same thing with like an actor. Like it's tough, but you want to do this. There are more
nigga be a fireman,
reasonable jobs than this one. You know,
you want a hard job, nigga, be a postman.
Yeah, exactly. Be like a sanitation person
For real.
Be those things.
Work at Amazon warehouse, nigga, if you really want a hard job.
You know, so it's kind of like you have to have a certain levity towards everything that you're doing to be like, I choose this.
I feel that. Okay. So, based on our conversation, because people at the end of interviews will be like, all right, if you could give advice to any up-and-coming comedian. But I'm like, fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
If you could give me any advice moving forward, based on this conversation, other conversations we've had, what would you tell me? And maybe that is what I will make Shut Up Simon about. What would you tell, based on this conversation, what advice would you tell me?
I think you should focus on your stand-up. Only because, you want to be able to knock these people out of the water. I would say focus on your stand-up, and not even just focus because that's kind of vague, but know what it means for you to focus. What does that look like? And are you doing it? It's something that you can assess. And then just have fun, and no one can be you. Mind your business. That's it.
Mind my own damn business.
And know that no one can do what you do. Because you are
It's
you.
only one, bruh. It's only one Siamese. It's only one Electra.
That's a fact.
Which is a sick name, by the way.
Thank you.
That's why the last time I was like, wait, what is your name for real? It's like, is that your name for real?
Birth name. Yep, that's my birth name.
I was trying to introduce you. To somebody, and I was like, wait, is that her real name? Because sometimes, bro, I just be getting caught up on like calling people by their Instagram name.
Yeah, that's true. Like my last name is not Telly, it's Tellisford, but yeah. But Electra is my first name, yeah.
Electra.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your mama name?
Serena.
That's dope, bro. Shout out. Attorney at law.
Mm-hmm.
Peeped earlier.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you pulling up.
Of
I
course.
personally do. I would love to say we as if it was a whole team of people producing
You gotta
this
say
show.
we until it's a we.
We is me, bruh.
They don't need to know. You gotta make the thing shake behind like someone's touching it. Like, oh, that's the production team.
Shout out to my production squad behind the camera, man. I appreciate y'all, man. But no, as always, we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Be on her podcast. You could plug your podcast, Two Bearded Ladies.
Yep. So it's Two Bearded Ladies. It's a beauty history podcast where we talk about ancient to present day trends and things related to beauty. And we also have a show at the Stand called Two Bearded Ladies. The next time it is June 27th at 9.
June 27th. So this episode will be out before that.
Yeah, and you can follow me on Instagram, so you can call me at
Call her. Give me your number, girl.
You can call me at Electra_Telly TELLY.
Word up. And as always, Wednesdays, we at Starr Bar. We are popping June 2nd, June 9th, and June 16th. And then we try and do some summer Saturday shows, some Stank Face Saturday shits.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, we got that popping, man. Y'all know where to find the show at Shut Up Simon Pod. Thank you, as always.
You're welcome.
I will see you at a show soon.
Soon.
Come through on Wednesday.
Maybe.
Word.
Yeah.
Maybe. She got other shit to do. She's booked. But thank
But
you.
Nora's on it. That's why I was
Yes.
like, okay.
She's about to fucking shut that shit down.
Yeah.
But all right, y'all. Peace and love as always. I love every single one of y'all. I will holler at y'all again on the next side.
Shut up, Simon.